Joining us now, Pete Snyder, Northern Virginia. Pete, great to have you with us.
Hey, Johnny, great to be with you and your listeners this morning.
So, Pete, I know you saw that Mueller press conference, which he really released no new information. What was your take on that?
My take was that it was a nothing burger. And, I just heard your prior soliloquy, rant, whatever it may be. And I got to tell you, what has happened to the Mark Warner that we used to know?
I don't know.
What happened to the guy who, in 2001 was running for governor and said that he wanted to be a different kind of Democrat, that he was more of a centrist. He had a little jingle that he played in Southwest Virginia. I don't know this hyper-partisan, crazy Swalwell guy that Mark Warner's become. He's not the technology entrepreneur and level-headed character that we all used to know. So what's gotten into him?
I really don't know. I had him on my show, I think, about a week ago, and we had a good, healthy conversation. But the one question I asked him that he skirted was, you went on TV for 2 years telling us that you had alternative evidence and you were convinced that, that where there's smoke, there's fire, and there was some kind of collusion or conspiracy, and there was none. So, what evidence did you have? Because obviously Mueller didn't have it. And he never really answered the question because there is none. Because, look, Mueller went up there yesterday disappointed that the hoax and the coup was coming to an end. So what did he do? He just tossed this thing out about it's up to Congress and I couldn't exonerate him. Everybody knows how asinine that is. They have no evidence because there is none. So I don't know
Johnny,
where they're going.
I have a slightly different take on Mueller. Again, this is all conjecture.
Right.
We can't go inside the mind of the guy. I think he's a pretty straight-laced FBI dude who lives by the letter of the law, and he made sure that his investigation lived by the letter of the law, was as narrow as it possibly could be. Where did I read? I read this somewhere there. He didn't want the weight of the democracy on his shoulders, and he did his job and peaced out. That's really it. So I don't think the guy's trying to throw a stink bomb here. But, unfortunately, on the left, they're going to read tea leaves and try to turn it into whatever that they can. And, any supporter of the president's going to look at it and say, well, there's nothing there. So I don't get it. I think it's bad for our country overall, this, constant speculation and whining and what have you. And, look, the real judgment's going to be on November of 2020. The Democrats are trying to have 35 different people running for president. Bring up your best candidate, face them off against the president, and we'll see who wins. That's it. But all this hyperventilating and that Senator Warner is doing, and so many others, it's just counterproductive.
Well, that's what I think, and I'm not really sure what Mueller's objective of the press conference was yesterday. He said nothing new, and he said basically, if you're going to subpoena me, I'm going to read the 435 pages out of the report, and that's going to be it. So I'm not even sure what the purpose of that was, but, other than to throw shade, create doubt, and continue with the hoax of this conspiracy thing that the Democrats are not going to give up. I'm so sick of this now, Pete. It's like, you know what? If you want to go forward with impeachment, go ahead, right? Go ahead, make our day. It'll fail. It'll go nowhere. There's no evidence. But if that's what you want to hang your hat on going into 2020, and you think that's going to help reelect Abigail Spanberger and Elaine Luria, fine, have at it. Both of them will lose, and the president will win, and will win the House back by a bigger majority than he had originally. That's what's going to happen if they go forward.
That's it, Johnny. Look, the president, no president wants to be impeached, but this president understands what's going on. He would love to see the Democrats do that, and I hate to even say this, but she can be smart from time to time. Nancy Pelosi is one of the smarter Democrats out there, at least as a strategist, and she's trying to have her wackadoodles to corral them in and say, guys, you don't want this. Because, I think Spanberger loses. I think Luria loses. I think any kind of swing district Republicans will romp in. And, the president would love if they tried to make his day and impeach him, and it fails. And, he gets elected to a second term and takes back the House and has a larger majority in the Senate.
Pete, we're with Pete Snyder. Pete ran for lieutenant governor, Republican 2013, in a convention, finished second. And he was also the chairman of the Mitt Romney for president campaign in Virginia in 2012. Pete, let me ask you this. You've got a rally tonight. I've been invited. I'm going to be the MC. I'm excited about it for Tina Freitas in Arlington. Tell me about the rally that you got going on, why you decided to have it, and where do you think this race is headed?
Well, Johnny, a couple things for your viewers, and first and foremost, we're thrilled to have you as the MC tonight. And you on your show don't endorse a lot of candidates. You came out for Tina because she's a proven conservative leader, is going to be a reliable conservative vote in the state Senate. And just for your listeners' information, we're talking about the 24th Senate District of Virginia, Augusta County, parts of Rockingham, Stanton, Culpeper, really pound for pound, probably the most beautiful district in the Commonwealth. And it's had a career politician as its incumbent for nearly 40 years, someone who probably started out, as a conservative, but over time has voted for 3 of the largest tax increases in the history of the Commonwealth, is bad on the Second Amendment, and now lying about his record on with the NRA right now, not very good on the life issue, and has just been, really, if you look at his voting record, a little bit closer to Scott Surreval up in Northern Virginia, or any kind of Northern Virginia Democratic state senator. So Tina, I've known for a long period of time. We've been battling in the trenches and the grassroots together. She is a fantastic leader and is going to be a great state senator. So Morton Blackwell and I decided to put together an event for her. We're pulling her out of the district for a quick, hot second and doing an event at the Arlington rooftop tonight at 6 o'clock. We have a great crowd coming, but would certainly love to have any of your listeners that are either up in Northern Virginia or elsewhere in the Commonwealth that wants to trek in and see a real rising star in our midst and come tonight. And it's going to be a blast. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I'm excited. And, yesterday was B. Snyder's last day of school. She had a pool party for her friends, and on her first day of summer, guess what she said this morning, John?
What?
She said, "Daddy, I want to go to a fundraiser on my first day of summer," right? You believe that, don't you?
No.
But the whole Snyder family is going to be there tonight, along with you, Johnny, and Morton, and B. Snyder is going to be there, and we're pretty fired up.
Well, listen, if people that are listeners in Northern Virginia, if they want to pop in, what time is it? Where is it? Where do they go?
Sure. The restaurant called the Arlington Rooftop, 6 o'clock p.m., 6 to 8. Also, you can go on Tina, TINA, 4 VA.com and make a donation, get the information, come on out tonight, and we're going to have a great time. And John, this is going to be one of the biggest upsets of primary night. I believe Tina Freitas is going to win. I know you're calling another upset as well with your buddy Joe Morrissey.
Yep.
As a big one, but I think those two are probably going to lead the night.
Well, this is going to be a big upset. I mean, look, I'm for Tina Freitas. We don't agree on every single issue. It doesn't matter. We agree on most, but what matters is it's just time for change. And these people that have been in the state Senate for 40 years, they get entrenched, they get power, and they're chairman of committees. And Emmett Hanger's a really good guy, and I like him a lot personally, and he's a good guy. But it's just time for change. You need new blood, you need younger people, you need a different vision, you need a hard charger, you need somebody that's going to go in there and shake things up. And I think Tina's going to do that. And 40 years or however long Emmett's been there is enough. Let's get in some new blood. Let's get some energy in. Let's get a different perspective. And I think she's definitely going to shake things up and ask tough questions and be a lot of fun in there. But
John, she's going to be great. And you talk oftentimes, rightfully so, about the swamp that is Washington D.C. and all the swamp creatures that live there and feed off the ever expanding federal government. We have the same thing going on in Richmond. Government is ever expanding in Richmond. And you have a lot of swamp creatures. And if you're a career politician, you've been there for decade after decade after decade. I mean, look at the size of government, how much it's expanded over the past 4 decades, the size of the budget of the Commonwealth, and also look at what has happened to our college tuition. I mean, just over the past decade, you have your Bernie Sanderses of the world saying, "Oh my gosh, we need to that isn't horrible about student debt, and we're just going to rid it. We're just going to, get rid of it instantly and have the federal government pick up the tab. Look at, if you want to find where the accountability is, look at what's happened in the Commonwealth of the past decade. Tuitions on the whole have gone up 78% in the past decade, John. The past decade. And how does that happen? Well, you have boards that are appointed by the governor. You have a General Assembly that has some command and control over that entire process. And there's been no accountability. Zero. So I got to tell you, the folks in power are the ones to blame. You think, college is out of control and tuition's out of control, and it's putting our next generation of students in insurmountable debt. You got to go to the heart of the problem, and that's the people who are making the rules and governing these boards, and it's all political.
I think it was,
and it's a tragedy.
I think it was ODU.
And it's got to change, and we need new blood.
Absolutely, and that's, I think, what Tina Freitas would bring to a stodgy state senate, regardless of who's in control of it, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats next year. It's going to be very close. But what she brings is just a new perspective, a breath of fresh air, energy. And but you're right about college tuition. I laughed a month ago when ODU, Old Dominion University, great school, puts out a press release that they're holding the line on tuition. Like, they're holding the line. I'm like, well, that's good. Then I read I read down further the footnote, and they got a cash infusion from the General Assembly. And part of the deal was, we'll give you more money if you don't raise tuition. So, I mean, this is what's
Johnny,
going.
It's a bribe. I mean, look.
It's a bribe.
It is a bribe. We are going to pay you off so you don't do something bad.
Right.
And look, it's good that we don't have. But what you missed the other footnote, brother. All the other fees are going up. So there's tuition, which is kind of room and board and all that kind of stuff. But then there are all these supplementary fees that have gone up. It's a classic, big government bait and switch, a bureaucratic bait and switch. And,
exactly.
Gets the headlines of the daily press and the RTD and what have you of holding the line on tuition. Well, look at there a lot of other things that go into the factor of, the full program for a student going to college.
Right.
And this is a shell game that's happening right here. And again, I applaud the General Assembly for trying to do something, anything, this past year. That said, it really is a bribe that's going on. And the whole system's rotten. And we need to root out that rot and make accountable the folks that, every single time vote for tuition increase after increase. And, a career politicians that have been asleep at the wheel on it, period. That's it. We got to root them all out, and Tina Freitas is going to help us do that.
Somebody could get elected governor of Virginia on a single platform, and that is they are going to find a way to reduce the cost of a 4-year college decent education in Virginia, because it really is out of control. That's why my son's working hard to get a baseball scholarship. I mean, you just can't pay for it. It's so expensive.
Well, Johnny, we need it. We need it, and JoJo's going to need it if Virginia schools are unaffordable at the time, as many families are finding them. And how about this? Also, someone who could reduce the wait time at DMV by 50%, right?
Those two things
Make it simple.
You would win in an absolute landslide. John Fredericks Radio Network, we're out of time. I want to thank Pete Snyder for being with us. You can follow him on Twitter at Pete Snyder, and we look forward to seeing
Hey, Johnny,
Pete.
just one last plug for Tina. Tonight, y'all come out, 6 o'clock, Arlington Rooftop in Arlington, Virginia, for Tina Freitas, next state senator from the 24th. Go to Tina, Tina, 4 VA.com. Make a donation. Sign up to volunteer. Primary days on the 11th of June. We need you.
Tina's going to win. If you help her, she will win. John Fredericks Radio Network. Your calls when I get back.